Hello. Hello. Hello.
कोविड-19 अनलॉक की प्रक्रिया और पूरे देश से शुरू हो गई है। इन हल
सर मैं देख पा रहा हूँ आप लाइव हो गए हैं, चलिए आगे।
ठीक है. Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss and think about the gig economy. We will discuss how do you basically think about new career options in the times of pandemic, in the times of crisis, what we are having right now. So the basic reason why we are basically discussing this topic is that personally, because I am part of the economy, I am not into a regular job, into a permanent job, and gig economy is known to is associated with, is identified with the temporary people who work for some time and then move on. There are hundreds of examples, thousands of examples where a lot of temporary people are working, and in the way the lockdown was implemented, it highlighted the scale of the economy which is doing gig work, that is the work which is done by migrant laborers, temporary laborers, and the people who did not had enough resources to stay on, to work on and continue their life. So I am also part of the same economy. I don't have a regular job, I don't have a big business, I work as a freelancer, I work based on the skills, and I understand the dynamics of the gig economy, I understand the dynamics of the main economy, I understand how informal economies are working, I also understand how formal economies are working and how people basically at the margins of the society, at the margins of the economy, are surviving in such kind of a crisis. Now, basically, when we talk about temporary people, these people basically are angry young people, because India is the youngest of all the countries, and we are basically, a lot of people in India are jobless. The percentage of unemployment is quite high, and it was increased because of this pandemic. So most of these people do not hold high positions, they do not hold high positions in terms of economy, in terms of society, but they are low status people, but somehow they are angry with the system, they are angry with the way the world is running around, the way our economy is running, and they look at their own destination with a pity, with a lot of remorse and with a lot of pittiness. So basically I want to discuss all these things, but at the same time I want to discuss the history of losing jobs, the history of joblessness, that is the history of unemployment in India, in context of India when India got independence. So the first job losses, if you look into the slide, if you look at the first job losses, it went with the passage of, with the passing of kings and queens, and the time when military capitalism was on its height, and lot of kings and queens of India lost their job, and somehow we paved out a way and we carved out a way to make India as a democracy. So we got independence, we threw away the Britishers, and somehow all these kings, queens and people who were jamidars, they were landlords, and lot of people who had lot of power. Their power was questioned, their wealth was questioned, and somehow many of them lost their jobs, and somehow a new order was restored. But with the passage of time, as we moved ahead, we also understand that during the British times and during the time we got independence, and as we moved on, slowly and gradually all the farmers are losing their jobs, they are losing their livelihood, they are losing their farm owned businesses. And it is not just happening in India, it is the farmers are losing their jobs all over the world. I give you a very simple example that of America. I don't want to give an example of India because most of us basically look at the developed nations, we look at the way they are working, and we look at the way we can basically learn and implement things over here in India. So let us take an example of America and what happened to the farmers over there. And I will talk about the farmers, how farmers lost their jobs and somehow they became temporary migrant laborers, and they now go and work in some other places and to somehow to survive and became a part of the gig economy. There were a lot of family owned farms in America just 30-40 years ago, and about 25 years ago the government of America changed their rules and allowed foreign direct investment in the piggery business, into the animal husbandry business, and slowly and gradually the animal husbandry business was overtaken by corporate houses, and most of these corporate houses were majorly owned by Chinese people. And slowly and gradually, with the passage of time, in just 25 years, the family owned farms all closed, and lot of farmers now became a part of a gig economy. They do not have proper permanent jobs now. Permanent jobs, I mean, neither they are self-employed, neither they are properly having a long-term sustainable career. They are again have become, in what India has right now, lot of migrant labor. So they also became migrant labor, and somehow slowly and gradually the world was moving towards was coming out of the World War I, and it was coming out of the World War II, and slowly and gradually military capitalism was spreading all over the world, and slowly and gradually the military governments were tightening their noses. They were expanding their operations all over the world, but no one was looking at the way the farmers were losing their jobs and how they were becoming the part of a temporary market, a temporary job market, and so on and so forth. By 1950s and 1960s, the seeds of digitalization were sown. Lot of innovations came up, lot of computers were made. It was a beginning of IBM, it was beginning of big corporate houses which were making lot of computers, and slowly and gradually the seeds of digitalizations were spreading all over the world. It was the time when artificial intelligence, the initial encounter with the artificial intelligence algorithms was made, and slowly and gradually the value of education became quite appreciable, and slowly and gradually the world was moving towards the mental abilities, and although the physical abilities, how strong you are, were also important, because at that point of time lot of infrastructure was built, and slowly and gradually, if this infrastructure has to be built, the government has to do something, the corporate houses has to do something to get that labor at that particular place. Let us say there are people who are living in far-flung areas, in remote areas, or let us say they are living in tribal areas, and they are happy with the way their economy is running, with whatever barter system or whatever system they are having. And at the same time, the corporate houses or the governments wants to build a big dam or a big building in a metropolitan. So how do they get basically such kind of a labor which has lot of physical abilities, a labor that can basically build roads, a labor that can build dams, a labor that can build lot of skyscrapers, and so on and so forth. So the governments as well as the corporate houses have worked in such a manner that it forced lot of migration from the remote areas to the areas where there were jobs, and those jobs were basically based on the physical abilities of the people, and some people became the supervisors of such physical intensive jobs, and slowly and gradually there was a huge market for blue collar jobs. And if you really want to understand what do you mean by blue collar jobs, you need to look at the cinematic history of India, where initially when India got independence, the movies were made with the theme of the farmers. The movies were made with the theme of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. The movies were made basically to show the plight of the farmers and so forth. But with the passage of time, as India got industrialized, the movies of the Bollywood changed, and you had Amitabh Bachchan, who was angry young man who was fighting the capitalism, who was fighting he was part of the unions of the industries, and slowly and gradually the unionization of the industry happened, and slowly and gradually the blue collar jobs got organized, and with the passage of time the things basically got institutionalized. Now there were big corporate houses, there were big industries, there were a lot of Bilra, Tatas and Ambanis and all those kind of people who had large companies, and at the same time they had very large blue collar workers working for them. And but with the time, with the innovation, with new technologies, many of these blue collar jobs got lost. A lot of people lost job in between, and for example, big metropolitans like Delhi, Mumbai, there was a peak time where there were a lot of jobs. There were times where the industry got nearly bankrupt and people lost jobs. And by 2000, and when about one decade has passed and India got into the habit of having a liberalized policy, and by that time the white collar jobs started growing, and the growth of the white collar jobs was exponential. Now jobs which required lot of mental abilities, which required lot of creativity, which required lot of thinking rather than physical abilities, got a large chunk of the market as far as the jobs are concerned. But this has also given birth to higher level of military capitalism, where the lot of equipment, lot of missiles, lot of weaponry has been built by the industry to sell it from one country to another, and it has created another kind of a crisis in the world, where people want to sell weapons, and they want to sell nuclear bombs, they want to sell atomic bombs, they want to sell I don't know what, just to make money, just to make profit, just to basically run a company for the profit. And it is not just companies, it is the governments in nexus with the companies and in nexus with the people who basically wants to keep the world destabilized to make money. They are basically working on, and it is in this time that the nature of capitalism has changed from a simple economy based capitalism to the surveillance based capitalism, because of which we are again losing jobs. By surveillance based capitalism, I mean to say is that they are trying to basically get into your minds, they are trying to get into your brains, they are using neuroscience marketing tactics, they are trying to basically hack your brain and brainwash you and somehow make you a zombie which can basically understand the corporate needs. And the way the education system has been basically built across all over the world, the way the education system basically feeds our kids, it is to basically become slaves to these big corporate houses, and to understand and to be obedient to the basic governments of the governments of the world. So now they are watching us, the corporate houses are big watching us, they know what we are doing on internet, they know our habits, and they are trying to build a technology called persuasive technology. This technology basically slowly and gradually persuades you towards a particular product or a service or particular idea or to particular ideology, and slowly and gradually you live in a world where you are fed with whatever a corporate houses want you to learn, listen and hear. It goes and get ingrained in your body, it becomes part of your blood, and all these things which are sent across to you are basically all for profit. None of these things are for basically for building social fabric, for basically building a society which will be stable in nature. So because of this, the biggest example is they are making technologies to propagate bad news, to propagate fake news, and they are at the same time they can also build technologies to understand and capture fake news at the source. But these things are not done simply because bad news sells more. It will create more sensation, it will create more advertisement revenues, it will create lot of jobs for them, but at the same time it will also create disruption in the society. People will lose jobs, and some of the corporate houses will be basically make money out of it. And the coronavirus pandemic is an example where surveillance capitalism has become a mainstream. Everyone is watched under the garb of that they are being watched because they might be infected because of coronavirus. Now corporate houses are building databases of the people. They are building systems with which they can pursue you later on with whatever kind of skills, whatever kind of objectives they have, and slowly and gradually make money out of it. So, and due to coronavirus and due to the concept of surveillance capitalism, they are automating everything. The systems are running using lot of robotic algorithms. They are using lot of computer algorithms. They are using artificial intelligence to run stock market, to predict stock market, to identify different patterns of psychology, different psyches, and how market behaves. And slowly and gradually, few corporate houses and few people sitting in the corporate houses are building technologies and basically making somehow inroads into our minds and making us lose our basic jobs. What is happening is that we also become part of the gig economy because we do not have we do not develop deep skills which can sustain us in the market, deep skills which can sustain us in worst times, because we are all engaged in social media, different channels, and slowly and gradually lot of students, lot of kids, lot of people now have brains which have developed repetitive mental algorithm in which they automatically get up in the morning and start looking into the social media. So this is again creating a economy which does not have people who have really great skills, which have great abilities in depth, and it is creating people which having superficial skills. And this is also leading to an era where people are looking for more leisure. People are also looking for more, somehow they are looking for easy jobs. They do not want to have a hard life, and slowly and gradually we are moving towards an era where the companies want you to be in homes, but at the same time they want to make money, but you are left with no way to basically make money, to make a sustainable career. And this is all because of main reason is because we do not have the creativity to basically build our career. And this situation can easily be encountered with the help of creativity and with new ideas. So as we are moving forward, the scale of the gig economy is increasing. We have a life which is run by corporate houses. It is run by people who tell us what to wear, what not to wear, and slowly and gradually we need to change this state of affairs. So what do we do this and how do we strategize? And for this, what really needs to be done, because the statistics of unemployment are quite high, the size of the gig economy is clearly increasing, people are now unsecure, people are working in temporary, they do not have deep skills, they do not know what to do, and what really needs to be done is there is a need to give a lot of rethinking about it. So according to my analysis, according to my thinking, what we need to do is we need to basically identify our abilities in light of what is happening all around, in light of in light of what we are going to do to really survive into it. So a lot of people would say that, yeah, I already know my abilities. I am into a clerical job, so my ability is to do a clerical work. So this idea of having one kind of ability or one kind of job for a full length life is no longer applicable in this world. Now it is an obsolete idea, and it does not mean that you need to be multi-skilled. It means that you need to only identify your abilities, your passions and emotions that will help you to survive in such kind of market. The market which has been developed because of the persuasive technologies, that the market that has been developed because of the gig technologies which have come into play, and the kind of a capitalism, the kind of a economy system which we have, and so on and so forth. So how do you identify your abilities? How do you identify your passions? How do you identify your emotions? That needs to be understood very technically and with a lot of skills. In fact, what you need to do is right now is, the first thing which you need to understand is that since your jobs are temporary, so that means your skills are temporary, so there is no need to do a very long term degrees. You don't need to spend a lot of money in education. There is no need to get into very long term courses on which you spend a lot of money, and later on you are just left with a paper degree and you do not have lot of skills to basically operate in the real life. Secondly, what you need to do is, according to me, is that you need to ignore what is called an experience. So let us say, for example, there is a 50-year-old person and he has some odd 20 or 25 years of experience, and you must remember that based on those 25 years of experience, he may or may not get a job, and he may not be able to sustain him because the world is changing very fast. So what you need to understand is, accept this fact that experience is no longer relevant now. That if you cannot boast now that I have 20 years of experience in mobile industry, or I have 30 years of experience in XYZ industry, I have 40 years of experience in this and that, and so on and so forth. Now experience is also really not relevant in these days. The only thing which is relevant these days is your skills and abilities to solve problems. So you need to first avoid spending lot of money, time into long term degrees. Need to also understand that long term experience then cannot really help. You need to accept this fact and move ahead in your life. So how do you identify your abilities? And I will from now onwards would say that abilities is a synonym of a gig. So let us first now understand what do you mean by ability and what is the meaning of gig. According to the statistics, you know that Uber driver is also a gig. A guy who is renting out his home for 2-3 days is also is also contributing to a gig economy. A person who is a migrant laborer working in some far-flung area away from his home and doing some physical or manual labor is a gig, isn't it? But now you need to become a gig who is a digital gig, and at the same time also have abilities to become a innovator, a collaborator. At the same time he needs to become a prosumer. हेलो, हाँ जी सर. नहीं मूव कर रही है, मैं तो कर रहा हूँ, मैं तो आगे हूँ. हाँ हाँ. So we were coming back to our topic. We were discussing, so what are the abilities, how do you define an ability, and how do you define a gig. So what is a gig? A gig is something with which you can contribute to the society, and at the same time you can contribute to the economy, your own economy, your personal economy, and the economy of your country and the world. And economy can be of many types. So to understand gig, which is equivalent to an ability, you need to understand that the two terms, the terms with which we started our world, which has created such kind of a situation where a lot of people are losing jobs and the gig economy is increasing. These words are consumer and producer. The world got divided into two parts with the industrialization, and the two parts were, one is called the consumer, the other is called the producer. The society got divided into two parts. The producers were making things and consumers were basically consuming things. The producer became a specialist, a person who can specialize in making a particular thing, and a consumer is a person who basically needs that particular product. So with the passage of time, the producers got smart. They were using technology to persuade you to buy their products, and it led to a situation where it is called hyper consumerism, where even they got beyond capitalism. The companies invested in India when initially Dr. Manmohan Singh government allowed foreign companies to come into India. The companies invested in India for more than 10-15 years to basically make people consume their products, and then after 10-15 years they made their profit. Coke, Pepsi initially were not profitable when they came in India. Initially they promoted what is called consumerism. The ads were designed in such a manner that fashion industry made it things more consumable. For everything, consumerism became the name of the game for people who wanted to make money. So, and at the same time, people got opportunities, people got jobs, people got ideas to produce new kind of products, and slowly and gradually we made a world which got divided into two things, producers and consumers. But with the passage of time, with the help of computer-aided technologies, with the help of new ideas and technologies, we have now become prosumers. Lot of people are now prosumers. What are prosumers? Prosumers are those people who can produce at the same time and consume at the same time, and maybe they can consume it for themselves and they can also give the same product for consumption to others. For example, I can become an electricity prosumer, I can become a water prosumer, I can become a person who can become a waste prosumer. So let us understand who is a person who is an electricity prosumer. Electricity prosumer is a person who has simply installed a solar panel on his home, on a rooftop, and is producing electricity himself. So he is not going to government of India, he is not going to governments or electricity board ke bhaiya mere ko bijli de do. He is producing himself electricity, and at the same time he is basically consuming it. And if he has surplus, so he is even giving back to the electricity board. And similarly, if I can become a water prosumer by doing water harvestation and simply using that water harvestation for my own purpose, for washing my clothes, for drinking, and for my own purposes. I can use, if I use rainwater, so I become a water prosumer. Similarly, if I generate lot of waste and I want to basically use this waste for some meaningful purpose, so I can decompose this waste and make a fertilizer out of it, a biofertilizer out of it, and use it in a garden, and I become a waste prosumer. Because earlier what I was doing is, some 5-10 years ago, I was throwing my organic waste in the field and making my country, my city, my world, my neighborhood dirty. But now I have become a prosumer. So similarly, there are thousands of ideas with which you can become a prosumer, and our nannies, dadis, and our old families, our great parents were mostly prosumers. They were doing lot of things themselves. They were growing their own food. Some of them were even growing their own clothes. They were making their own clothes. Our great parents were making lot of them themselves, and basically their economy was basically prosumer based. There was the difference between a prosumer, the producer and consumer, was very less. Although at the same time, the structure of our villages was such that in one village there was one cobbler, in one village there was a person who would basically iron the clothes, there was one dhobi, there was one mochi, and there was one rashanwala, and somehow there was one people who knew how to make utensils, and that is how the economy of our village used to be. And this was the maximum level of difference between a producer and consumer. Now the difference between producer and consumer has gone so much that we even do not know from where our food is made, how a particular thing is made. And now there are corporate schools who are teaching you how to make things, how to think about products, how to do product thinking, how to design products that make more money, or that make you more addict towards Facebook, that make more addict towards using social media, and so on and so forth. So according to me, the first thing which a gig needs to do is to basically identify the opportunities, the method, the things with which he can become a prosumer. This is the first step to survive in a gig market. The second step is to adopt technologies such as 3D printing, because this technology will basically change the world, and it will decentralize the world, it will disrupt the world, and it will disrupt the manufacturing world for the first time in such a manner that you can manufacture small things, big things, or using your computer, using your desktop simply. So the first steps which I would prescribe to for you to become a gig in this and survive and thrive in this gig economy is to become a creator, a collaborator, and the second step will be to become a producer, a consumer, and the third step will be to adopt technology such as 3D printing. That means very micro, tiny level of production where you can make your things yourself. And last but not the least, the first thing, the most important is that you need to basically innovate, and innovate in such a manner that you start changing the lives of the people and not just a product. Because when you try to change lives of the people, and you will basically bring a change, and this change will basically bring stability in the gig market. It will bring consistency in the market, and somehow you will be able to have a sustainable career, so and so forth. So I give you one example, a case study with which you can understand how a person having particular abilities can convert his abilities or his skills into a gig. I have a friend called Arun Bansal. He is a great networker. He is a great communicator. His idea of life is to work and change the lives of the people and not work on products. And somehow he has been supporting a lot of people, including me, and including artists, including poets, and lot of people. He has tried to change his life, and he relentlessly keeps on working day and night towards that. He is emotionally attached to the environment, and he knows a lot of things about environment with which he can commoditize it and make a sustainable career. I would never use the word that he can make money or something like that, but I would say that he can commoditize all these skills and become a real gig. And remember, nobody asks every day him what is his qualification. Although he has done a doctorate degree, every day nobody asks him, show me your degree, show me your this, show me your this. Everyone basically loves to talk to him because he is a person who is trying to change life of the lot of people. So if let us say, for example, Arun Bansal has these skills, how can he use and how he can become a gig, and how can he survive in a gig market? So let us move to the next slide. With the help of uh, he being a great communicator, he has become a great networker. He connects a lot of people. uh, he can become a professional anchor. He can do voice modulation. He can talk in English. He can at the same time talk in Punjabi. He can talk in Hindi. He has a smooth accent in Punjabi, and a lot of people require people who wants to make digital products which requires voice modulation and so on and so forth. And he himself is a poet. He himself can become an author and a writer, and he can also become as simple as that. He can become a PowerPoint maker. You will be surprised to know that on all gig-based technologies and platforms like Upwork, technologies which help basically to get you gig jobs, monster.com, jobs, basically the job sites. There are people who are even offering skills to make PowerPoint. A lot of people do not know how to make PowerPoint, and there are people who are paying other people to make PowerPoint. So even a small skill like PowerPoint, making a PowerPoint, can help you make you some money out of it. Even I give you one more example. If you, for example, there's a game called Rubik, where you have to basically change the combination of the Rubik so that similar colors come up. Even if you know such kind of a game, or if you know a particular kind of thing, you can make lot of money with that also, by teaching other people how to basically run the play the game of the Rubik's. Now coming back to Dr. Arun Bansal, he knows lot of about environment. He knows lot about nature. So at the same time, he can become a nature guide. He can become a forest guide. He has a very good knowledge about butterflies. So he can guide the new generation, the new world, the kids who are away and are immersed in digital world. And he can take a walk and basically teach students about butterfly. He can help people who are working in artificial intelligence to make programs which can help give proper information, location-based information to people who wants to learn about environment. At the same time, he can help us to create databases. He can help people in distress. He has good knowledge about how to handle snakes if they have come into your home. He has also abilities to do crowdfunding. So what do you mean by crowdfunding? He has abilities to basically help us to get donations from people and run social campaigns that are run for the benefit of the society. So he has so many abilities, he has so many gigs, I would say, and all these gigs can help him to survive in a gig market, either by making some money, either by adding value to the economy, either by adding value to the environment and to our social fabric. So there are many ways in which he can become a part of the gig. Similarly, I would suggest that you should also identify a lot of your abilities, your passions, rather than looking into the brochures of big universities that मुझे ये वाला कोर्स करना है या मुझे वो वाला कोर्स करना है. So you should look into yourself, identify a lot of abilities and skills which you have. So how do you identify lot of skills and lot of abilities that you have? The first thing which you need to do is you need to do one small exercise. So instead of calling your friend by the name, you need to call your friend by the name of a ability or a gig. For example, I would rather choose to call Arun Bansal by the name Arun Bansal. I would rather like to call him a collaborator. I would like to call him a networker, or I would like to call him an environmentalist, or I would like to call him an educationist. So when I use the word these educationist, environmentalist, I am basically highlighting his skills, I am basically highlighting his abilities. So the moment I am able to identify his abilities, I identify his value, I identify his value for economy, I identify value for his society, I identify all his abilities, and I can present his abilities to others, outsell him, cross sell him, and help him to make a sustainable career in gig economy. So similarly, I would ask everyone to stop calling each other by their original names and try to identify call them by their abilities. For example, if somebody is very good in drawing, so call him a great painter, or call him a person who is an artist. So when you highlight artist, that person will slowly understand, even if he loses his job, even if he loses his sarkari job, so he ultimately is an artist. See, look at the way our economy works. It has made us basically a machine. We work for 5-6 days. Let us say, for example, we are clerks, but on Saturdays and Sundays, we probably are nature lovers. We go for photography, we go for wildlife tours, we make drawings. Some basically on Saturday do poetry, some will do something or the other. Remember, all these things are valuable for the economy, they are valuable for the society, they are also valuable for the gig economy, although their nature is temporary, and so on and so forth. So I hope you must have learned a lot of things, you must have got a lot of ideas on how to build your gig based career and a sustainable careers. I would request you to fix up your milestones. You come out of the risky careers, try to build a stable careers, a career which has a meaning, which helps you to basically understand purpose of your life, and ultimately helps you to have a sustainable careers. Now it is a time to address questions and answers. I would request you to ask me questions in case you have any questions or doubts. Hello. Hello.
सत श्री अकाल।
हाँ जी, प्रेजेंटेशन। फिर हाँ, मेरा कंप्लीट हो गया। Hello. Hello.